Okay. Let's go with this one. Okay. They're all very long ones. I like this.
That's all right. We can split it into
Like 8.
followed. Yeah,
I've
we'll
one
just
of
keep
8.
going.
Okay, so appropriate diet time lengths and weight loss rates.
Okay. Do you want to start off with this one?
I will happily start off with this one.
Go for it.
I don't tend to work on anything less than 8 weeks with most clients as a starting point. You can do things like more aggressive mini cuts that are like maybe 3 or 4 weeks, but with those, I think you have to have a level of dieting experience, because for that to be effective within 4 weeks, you are going to have quite a calorie deficit, which means if you're not particularly great at learning how to manage your hunger and how to eat on low calories, then I think you will just struggle. And then what will happen at the end is you will rebound. You will probably go on a bit of a binge cycle and kind of quote unquote undo all your hard work. So I'd kind of start anywhere from 8 weeks, but I'd also cap it at somewhere around 24 weeks, like absolute maximum, because up at that end, your adherence is going to suffer. Your psychologically, you're going to feel absolutely effed. Training at that point is potentially going to start tanking, and just there's going to be a lot of negative side effects for the kind of the average person. I think.
Are we
don't think
talking
there's many people
straight weeks or including sort of diet breaks within that?
I think within that, there'd definitely be diet breaks. So probably a week or 2 at maintenance, spaced around things like how they're feeling, how they're training.
Yeah.
But even then, I found a sweet spot with a lot of my clients who are predominantly female is around the 12-week mark, then aiming for a 1-week diet break and then maybe going in again. And then maybe second one might be somewhere between 8 and 12 weeks. But again, depends on how much weight they want to lose, depends how much body fat they've got to start with. If it's somebody who is quite overweight and carrying quite a lot of body fat, which is just stored energy, they're probably going to be able to go a little bit longer without such negative adaptations. But if you've got quite a small human who's also quite lean, chances are you're not going to need anywhere near like that crazy length.
Yeah. I think it depends, like you say, on the starting position of the person and previous experiences of dieting. Because if you've got someone that's more towards the overweight end of things, a lot of the progress you're going to be making is around lifestyle kind of habit changes. So although you are going to be losing body fat, it's not going to be as noticeably extreme as,
doesn't feel
for
like
example,
a diet at that point, does it?
No, unless someone on the other end of the example is very consistent with tracking their intake, training, a good couple of years experience, and we have a specific kind of goals for them, that diet is going to be noticeable. So we're going to need diet breaks. We're going to need to take into account like psychological effects of the diet leading into that, because like you say, going 20, 24 or longer weeks while dieting is going to have a massive effect on you psychologically as well as physiologically, because there's going to be a point where you need to, or it's going to be more beneficial to take some time out and let yourself rest, recover, maybe push and allow a bit of sort of flexibility by bringing your calories up just a little bit more to a sort of a maintenance phase for a period of time before going again. But going back to sort of the original question, there's no specific like set time frames that you need to diet for. There's no quicker is better than slower. For some people, short, sharp bursts work quite well. Other people, longer, very habit-based changes within the lifestyle is going to be more effective for them, because it's not going to be noticeable in terms of the changes within their day-to-day. Is going to be quite minimal. It's making habit-based changes, so they're not going to be feeling stressed. it is quite dependent on individuals. I think you covered it quite well in terms of that diet frame times.
Weight loss rates, would you kind of agree somewhere between 0.5 to 1% a week? It's pretty good, eh?
Yeah, that's typically what I sort of like to go for, unless someone is more towards that sort of more obese rate, that sometimes it just goes a little bit quicker. But again, I'm not pushing for that. Sometimes it will just be, a little bonus extra, but we'll sort of typically go around like 0.5 to 1%.
Perfect. Okay. I'm going to save that question. I'm going to move that one further down because that is another very long one. And I actually think we might get a whole podcast topic on that one. Right. What are your favorite things about training and why? I feel like I'm on like, blind date when they used to ask those questions.
Yes.
Like, you had to ask a question. This is it. This is my like Cilla Black moment. So, Luke, what are your favorite things about training and why?
So for me, it's changed a lot over the years. As I was younger, it was very much because I was good at it. Like in that sense, like it was the only thing I was sort of really good at. So it was something that I could own, and physical like aspect of it, like improving my body image. Then that sort of started to transition a little bit more into the mental escape, and using it as a bit of an outlet for general life. I like to just kind of put headphones in, go in, push hard, and just get something done. Now I'm not sure now. I think at the moment for me it's because I know I do enjoy it, but at the moment it's a bit of a slog. I'm not necessarily overly like ecstatic about training. I get into a rhythm with it once I'm in the session, but it takes a little bit of forced effort to go there, do it. I think it is a bit of an escape from the desk and the lockdown life at the moment for me. Just to kind of take an hour out of my day just to kind of be on my own and escape a little bit.
Yeah.
But I know that with myself, I'm very reactive to progression, and within training, it's quite obvious if there is progression, because you either like done more reps, you've either lifted more weight, it's forced success, and I like that kind of feedback. So I think that's always been my kind of driving factor. I like to do well. So
that's not a bad motivator though. Yeah, it's quite a cool question actually.
Yeah.
I think like you, my reasons have changed over the years. Now it's more I like being and feeling strong, and I can say that with like relative confidence that I think I am pretty strong, both for your average woman and if you look back at me 10 years ago. Like I know for me I'm strong, but I also think in comparison to most of the gyms that I would walk into, unless you've got somebody who's a power lifter or maybe a competitor, I think I'd measure up reasonably well. Don't quote me on that. Not in squats because I can't squat for shit. Get me under a heavy squat bar and I freeze. I'm awful. But yeah, mental escape, physical escape. I like feeling strong, and probably a little bit of it is a bit egotistical. I like knowing that I've got stronger. I like knowing that I've lifted more.
It's a challenge to overcome. It keeps you routine, and like I say, I like to feel healthy. I like to feel good, and the biggest thing I notice is when I'm not training, I start to just feel sluggish. I feel lethargic. I feel like everything's getting tight and just like I can't move, and it's just like ugh.
Do you find you eat worse as well?
Oh,
I think I eat more shit if I'm not training, like snack crap, like stuff that whether I'm supposed to be dieting or not, just stuff that wouldn't necessarily fill my diet starts creeping in. It's like I can't train for whatever reason, so I decide to punish my body rather than actually do something that supports it.
Yeah, but it's kind of how habits link though as well. When you have habit stacking, like you've got one thing that builds on then to other habits, and I think that's key to a lot of that kind of nutritional and training kind of going hand in hand. That you want to perform good, so you start eating better and get results, and the two just complement each other. As soon as one kind of goes, it's a bit like, well, you know.
I'll sod it. I'll have another takeaway.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh God. You're gonna love this next question. What does a normal day look like for you?
God,
is that exactly where you are now?
I'm at the moment. It's
changed a little bit recently. You've got a lot of work to be doing, haven't you?
Yeah, a normal day for me at the moment is feeding. Well, getting up, getting the dog out, trying to get him to poo, feeding him, coming back, getting mauled to death with his sharp little needle teeth, trying to do work, getting mauled more, feeding him, take him outside.
Yeah, you are a true dog dad.
Yeah. Before my world got turned upside down, typical day for me would be getting up. I would normally do some studying, some reading for a little bit, with like a coffee and some water. Then I'll normally eat after that, once I've sort of done a little bit, and then sort of get dressed and washed, all that stuff. Do a chunk of work in the morning.
Yep.
Have a snack, get stuff sort of ready, go train sort of middle of the day, come back, another chunk of work through to like the evening, pretty much broken up with sort of food or a little walk outside. And then normally we'll kind of try settle down and stop kind of like work-based stuff around like 7ish, just to kind of just try and build in a bit more of a lifestyle balance for myself, because I find myself like I will end up not being productive, and so I'm like trying to drag out at things, whereas like really just kind of need to switch off and then come back to it and actually tackle something. So I try and sort of switch off, and I'll just usually be like Netflix or film or something with Sarah in the evening, and just chill.
Very
How about
nice.
you?
Oh God. In pre-lockdown life, most days getting to the gym for anywhere between 7 and 8, depending on my first client or whether I was training first. Most days, pretty much, I was in the gym for 7. So that'd be up at about 20 to 6, and then leave the house by about 20 past 6, drive to Chatham, a couple of clients, train, probably then a few more clients. Could be in the gym anywhere from 6 hours to 12. Long days. And then it'd literally be home to either cook dinner or prep meals for the next day, and then repeat the cycle. So I used to work 6 days a week on the gym floor. Then I dropped it down to 5. So my Mondays then became my online coaching day. So when I first started doing a bit of online coaching, so that was nice. That was always a bit of an easier day in the sense that you're not constantly talking to people. But then with lockdown, it's very different now. So I will either start work at about 7, 7:15, and do all like my prep. So I'll do all my client sheets earlier on, and then maybe have some breakfast and then come back and film. So I've now started splitting the two. Because I just find that for me, like the process of amending the sheets, writing programs, etc., tends to flow better when I'm in that zone rather than prep one client, film, prep one client, film. I just find it easier to then do kind of all my filming in one go, or like film a couple of client check-ins, then go for a walk or whatever. Or I will go for a walk at about 7:30 and then start work, like start filming check-ins and stuff from like 9, half 9. But again, yeah, it depends on kind of the day. I do check-ins Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Fridays. So Thursday's my more study heavy day. So I'm studying a nutrition course at the minute. So that gets fit in there. But I kind of have to switch off from work by about like 5, 6 p.m. because my brain doesn't work. Plus I do all the cooking. So I have to finish early enough to...
I do all the cooking as well.
Do you? How do you get all that in? Oh my God.
Like I say,
some days it kills me.
It just depends on the day.
Yeah.
And when I'm going to do things, like sometimes I'll just like end up bringing my laptop downstairs, and it depends what type of work I'm doing as well.
Yeah.
I've got a bad habit of still doing little like kind of monotonous tasks I've just got to like mindlessly do while like other stuff's going on. But again, like my days aren't that regular as well, because where Sarah's work is very sporadic all over the place. Sometimes I'll have days where like I'm not working like in the middle of the week, but then I'm working all weekend. So
I think sometimes you just have to take
depends,
you have to take your off days where they come, don't you, when you're self-employed?
Yeah, and I kind of like that flexibility.
Agree.
Because in normal times as well, like everywhere is empty in the middle of the week, so I like the
I love
Tuesday, Wednesday weekends.
So good. Like a Wednesday afternoon, or at the minute, because my Thursdays are a bit quieter, if I'm going to meet a friend for a walk or something, it's nice. Like when the world is a bit quieter, or the kids are at school. But yeah. Okay. There we go. Right, that's that one. Oh God. How have you, I don't mean that in a bad way, how have you kept yourself motivated throughout the lockdown? I don't think I have. Honestly, I don't know. I think for me, having like a level of routine works. So albeit my routine is totally different to what it was, this is now my normal routine. So I don't know what I'm going to do when gym's open. But I've got my like start work by 7, half 7, get a bit of work done, then might go and train. Like I am loving running my own schedule. And the benefit to online coaching is if somebody's on a Wednesday check-in, it doesn't really matter what time they get it. They know they're getting it that day. We don't make time promises. So I quite like not being beholden to any like specific time. So if I want to go for another walk at 2 o'clock because it's sunny and it's going to rain at 4 o'clock, I can actively choose to work later or train later. And that really helps me. But motivated,
I don't think anyone's really been motivated. I think
no, since the start of the year I've had things to focus on. So like the nutrition course started. I did like a week's it was like a free thing that this business like mentor guy ran. So it started my first couple of weeks really well because I had tasks to do or lives to join in on, which just gave me a bit of
you purpose.
Plus I think when you're a coach, so you've got to show up for your clients. So regardless of what else is going on, they are in essence my motivation because I can't let them down and I won't let them down.
I think for me, like the best things have been trying to keep some sort of routine, keep consistent and working like through things, whether it's like working through books, working through courses, like client works, having a structure of what I'm trying to do. And then like training is like trying to train specific kind of times of days, to have a bit more focus of like, that's when I'm going to go do that. Because again, if I don't have that set, that's when I'm doing it. It's like, I'm going to do it tomorrow, like, or I'll do it later, and then later comes and I'm like, it's not going to happen. But I think actually the biggest change for me has actually been before we went into lockdown. I changed my medication, and I went on to one that seems to be doing a lot better for me. Actually, I think this was not the first time I went into lockdown. It was the second time. So, because I remember I was at the gym on a consultation with the doctor.
Oh, brilliant!
And I was like, I got I booked like an appointment for sometime that day, and the only thing I was going to do that day was go to the gym.
Oh, of course you went to the gym.
That's when they rang me. I was like, yeah. So I think that was like November time.
Yeah.
So that's something that's sort of been a lot more positive for me, like more recently. And the summer was a lot easier, being like lots of walks. I'm very much a fair weather person. So just kind of getting outside and being in the sun, and just finding sort of little things to look forward to. More recently, it's been waiting to get Riley for a couple of months, and it was something that we knew that was happening, and sort of building up for that, getting things ready, and just sort of having little things to focus on and keep you in good spirits as much as possible. But just recognizing that it's not the best time, so you don't have to feel your best.
Right.
And just like understand that you're not necessarily going to feel absolutely great at the moment, but knowing that you can move forwards into better times to come.
Better days will always come.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Next question. What is the best way to increase calories without feeling so bloated all the time? I always feel a little bit anxious moving from a calorie deficit to maintenance. It's always difficult to get your head around eating more, obviously, because when you're dieting, you feel slimmer and less bloated most of the time. When you start eating, this is a long one from this client. I love her. Her voice notes are always like 9 long. So when you start eating more, I completely understand that it helps to build muscle, which I want to do, but I hate feeling bloated and quote unquote fatter through eating more carbs and fat. Wanted to know the best way to avoid this, if there is a way. And then when you do go back into a diet phase, do you lose some of the muscle you've gained, or can that muscle growth be maintained? Oh, it's a long one.
Let's break it down.
Let's break it down. So increasing calories without feeling so bloated. I think one of the biggest things there is going to be splitting your calories relatively evenly throughout the day and not trying to cram in quite a high calorie, high carb meal. Like before you go to bed, for example, would be one of my top tips.
If you've been recently like in a diet phase as well, your fiber intake might be a little bit higher, vegetable intake possibly a little bit higher as well. So you might have a little bit of room to drop that a little bit, as in if don't cut me up.
What vegetables?
No, we're not saying just like remove them.
Yes.
But obviously when you go into a diet phase, they've probably increased. Like it's what I do. I absolutely just like bulk out meals just with loads of veggies as much as possible. But that can then go the other way. So you can reduce high fiber foods, so it doesn't make you feel as full. Looking at nutrient density, calorie density of foods as well. So you can have some more dense foods that aren't going to be as filling.
Yeah.
Because especially in like the first kind of couple of stages, it's only going to be a couple of 100 calories. That can be a very small amount of food.
Yeah.
So you've got to recognize
it's 200 calories, that can literally be 2 slices of toast.
Yeah. So
this lag is horrendous. I just know. Sorry.
Country Wi-Fi.
I know. Okay, perfect. I think as well, you've just got to be aware that when you eat more, you've got more food volume in your digestive system, and that's got to go somewhere. So you are going to end the day feeling slightly more full, but it's actually nice to go to bed and not be hungry. Yeah. So embracing it for what it is.
On that point, it might be better to eat towards the end of the day, so you're not feeling like you've eaten a lot through the day. But at a point where you're gonna probably go to bed in a couple of hours, you might feel nicer, just to feel a bit fuller then. So
love
when
it.
you're eating it through the day.
Perfect. And then, do you lose some of the muscle that you have gained when you then go back into a diet phase, or can that muscle growth be maintained?
Muscle growth can be maintained. That's the aim. That's what we
Yeah.
want, to build muscle and then maintain that as we diet and drop body fat. So as long as you're not doing extreme things like dropping your calories very low and like cutting training as well, so you're not even at like maintenance volume, you're going to be able to maintain that muscle mass. And that's that kind of goal of body recomposition over time. We're going to slowly increase muscle mass and drop body fat at the same time.
Perfect. I think we've done justice on that one. Okay. Oh, we have light.
We have light.
How to ride out those down days that appear from nowhere. I think this is very topical.
Is this a different question?
Huh?
Is this a different question?
Yeah, new question.
Wasn't there a bit at the end of the last one?
That was it. Do you lose some of the muscle you've gained when you go back into a diet phase, or can that muscle growth be maintained?
Oh, right. Okay. Cool.
Basically, resistance train, protein, recover, you're golden.
Yeah.
So yeah, how to ride out those down days that appear from nowhere. I think remembering your mantra, better days are coming, is quite helpful on that one.
Especially at the moment, it's going to feel like they come from nowhere, but there's going to be, there is a lot of crap going on at the moment. So it's, down days do happen. They will happen, but it's learning to recognizing them and understand that it's only the way you're feeling at the moment, unless something terrible has happened in your life and that's what's caused it. But that's a very different thing. Like if it's just a day you're feeling bad, just allow yourself to feel that way. And don't put the pressure on yourself that you've got to do things, you've got to do more things. Allow yourself just a bit of self-care, self-kindness, and recognize that, okay, like I feel bad, like I'm just going to do things that I enjoy at the moment, like whether it's reading, whether it's watching a good film. Try not to like do things that might be detrimental or negative to you sort of feeling worse, like drinking a lot of alcohol has, sorry Harriet, but has negative effects with sort of depression and things like that. And that might cause you to feel in a worse state. Or my typically bad one is I have anxiety, so I think the best thing to happen is coffee.
Of course.
Which is just like throwing fuel on the fire. And I'm like, great.
Isn't it funny? Like we all try and medicate with the things that actually we know deep down aren't going to help. I think as well, like managing your environment around the situation can help. So for example, if you are somebody that gets very easily triggered by things you see on the news or in social media, regardless of whether it's a quote unquote bad day or good day, monitor your environment and make sure that you do actively unfollow people whose content triggers you in any which direction. If there's people out there that by whatever they're posting make you feel crap about yourself, unfollow them when you're on a good day, so that then when you're on a bad day you're not surrounded by
I unfollowed 300 people the other day.
Oh my god.
Just people I was like, don't need you anymore.
I've unfollowed so many. Like I've got now quite a clear divide. I've got such a clear divide between like my work page and my home page that every time I go on like my home one, I start like cutting anybody that either is too far in the fitness camp, therefore I only really want to look at them when I'm in work mode, or it's just somebody that I followed out of, I don't know, a reciprocal like follow, or I've binned off so many people. I love it. I unfollowed somebody recently, and my friends that know why I unfollowed them will be listening to this and be like, we know who you unfollowed. I unfollowed a girl because my sole purpose in following her was basically to just bitch about her in private. And that's just not, I shouldn't admit that, but I got so triggered by everything she put up that my then sole purpose was to message my friends and be like,
yeah,
why is she so annoying? What? And then I just thought, that's not who I want to be as a person.
no.
Anyway.
It puts you in a negative place that each time you see
Yeah.
stuff they're posting, and it's like, if you remove that aspect from your life, like,
Yeah.
you're not losing anything, you're just feeling better for longer.
Absolutely.
So,
and a hot bath does a lot. Hot bath and an early bedtime,
yeah,
I think can help solve a lot of stuff. I put my phone down a lot now.
Yeah,
Like,
I think the phone can be quite a big trigger, like especially sort of social media and causing you to feel a lot worse. I think if you can bring yourself to doing something active, that would help, whether that's as little as just sort of going for a 10-15 minute walk outside, getting some fresh air, some sunlight. That would help, if it's a little jog or something. But just doing stuff that you know that you like and enjoy, that's your sort of, again, make a little list of stuff that you like. So when it's one thing, one of my old therapists, they sent me a list of like fun activities to do, and I mean there was loads of them. There were some weird ones as well. Like one of them was go watch kids playing in a park. I was like, I don't think that's very
not an appropriate thing to suggest
no
to anyone. Oh no, okay.
No.
Right, next question. In your opinion, what moves do you think are just as good at home or which need the gym? I think a lot of, if you've got bands or dumbbells, a lot of back moves can be recreated at home, and shoulders and arms. I think they're all very relatively easy. Things like bent over rows, bicep curls, tricep kickbacks, lateral raises, rear delts, etc. are all really cool to do at home. I find lower body more challenging.
I think it comes down to that overload capacity.
With me. There's somebody at the door. You carry on. Keep going.
Okay, yeah. So while Harriet's getting the door, for me, I think it's typically comes down to the overload capacity that you have, because a lot of people aren't going to have the weight or the setup to be able to do squats and do large compound movements that we can overload and progress further within our training. I think with movements like presses, pulleys that have dumbbells, or like say bands, but we don't really use bands in the gym, but things like dumbbells, kettlebells or stuff like that we can use, and that's pretty much the same movement. But if it's things that are, we need more external load than we necessarily have, that's where we run into the issue. Like for the most part, the movements we're doing, we're trying to just contract the muscle against the weight and move through a range of motion. We can do that in whatever setup we have, as long as we have the external weight and stimulus that we need. That's the only big difference.
I'm going to say that was perfectly answered, because I have got no clue. I'm going to tell everyone, because this is going to be a very public shout out to Sarah. Look what just arrived. This is why the guy was still standing there. I got me a sip hoodie, because my client Sarah is the best human ever. Marvelous.
That's good. It's always
did you
nice
cover that question?
Pretty much. My point was that it comes down to that external load that we need. If we can replicate that at home, then the movements are the same. If we're able to replicate that external load and be able to contract to the same degree.
Perfect.
The only big benefit,
leg press.
No, that's the big thing that gyms provide, is we have a range of equipment that works to enable us to move weight against like the movement pattern that we're trying to do. But the big thing we do miss though is the environment.
Oh my God, yes.
if you have a great setup and you get on with home training, then that's amazing. But most people don't, and most people can't be bothered to train at home. They need that destination. I'm going here to do that, and it's that connective sort of habit stacking building. Like, I'm going here to do this thing.
Yeah, I agree. I must admit, you and I both have quite good setups, but I think even we're reaching our level of tolerance with them. I actually want somebody to come up to me and go, how many sets have you got left? Just so I can give them my angry eyes and go, no, you're not having it.
I'll send you a video and be like, how many sets you got left, so you can just play it.
Yeah, basically. Okay. This one, I think this one's from Sam. When will you get a discount for fitness products? Which I laughed at a lot, because if Gymshark want to come at me, I'm really happy to support them in whatever way I can. But our Rob actually does get discount, doesn't he?
He does.
An ambassador for Spartan Steel.
Spartan Steel, yeah.
Which make gym equipment. So if you've got a couple of grand and you want a power rack, go hit them up.
Yeah.
But also, I am finalising. I feel like I can say I'm finalising. I'm joining the My Protein PT scheme. So essentially, when that's all set up and finalised, I will have a My Protein discount code, which feels banging.
Look at you.
And then I will earn a little bit of cheeky commission if people shop through my link. So I'm going to be that annoying person that starts posting with like, please use my link.
Yeah. I think I've looked at stuff like that in the past, but I think for me, it's just, I would have to, I need to feel like very comfortable with like the product, that if I was going to do anything and going to sort of share anything, I would want to, it would have to be stuff that I would like and would use anyway. But I am very open and willing to sell my soul if anyone wants to send me some money to sell stuff.
Basically, yeah, we're, it's lockdown, we're all a bit desperate. But yeah, that's why I joined the My Protein PT scheme. Like, I think any PT can apply, but it's, they're a company whose products I use anyway. It's where in the main I recommend my clients get their protein from, because it's really good value. So yeah, there you go. Okay, what made you want to become a personal trainer? You can answer this one first, because I've actually semi-answered this on a very extensive podcast episode about my soul.
Yes. So, oh God, for me, I was always kind of into fitness. Like growing up, I played a lot of sport. And so when I was 12, I was in a wheelchair for like
what
2 years. Yeah.
What? This is literally news. Okay. Why?
So when I was basically playing football, and I slide tackled someone, got up and like went to walk and like fell over. I got an occlusion fracture in my hip, which means like the muscle pulled away from the bone and splintered the bone. And if anyone just listened, Harriet's got some great faces going on here.
But so you are putting the visuals of this on the website, aren't you, at some point? Great.
Yeah. That was kind of like the original injury. Ooh. But I developed something called reflex sympathetic dystrophy. It's now like bracketed under regional complex pain syndrome, which basically was a condition where my brain wasn't connecting with my limbs and my leg, but your brain reacts on like the last nerve impulses that are sent and connected, which obviously after an injury is pain. So I couldn't move my left leg, and I was just getting like constant pain, but it was just like fluctuating. I spent a lot of my kind of, when I was like 11, 12, like in hospital. I lived in there for like months on end, sort of in and out. They didn't really know what was wrong, because it's not a very common thing, because most people just get it in like their wrists and fingers. but it's very kind of rare to have that in like a large joint, like your legs. Mine was on my hip. Ended
Wow.
up going to Great Ormond Street and having like intense physio. I was on a lot of like medication I kind of came off of, and had to kind of basically like learn how to re-walk. And that's
Wow.
when I kind of first started in a gym, was in like my rehab from that. So I went to a specialist gym that I had to start doing sort of like resistance programming, and sort of training to like build up the tissue again after that. And that was kind of my first experience in a gym, which I kind of enjoyed. That kind of dropped off and I was back playing football and doing a lot of that. And then it was very much...
went back to playing football?
Oh, yeah.
Why are you men really stupid when it comes to football? And I feel like I can say anyone I know who's ever played football is like, oh yeah, I broke my leg in 4 places, but I'm still playing football. Or I had a heart attack on the pitch, I'm still playing football. You're all stupid. Sorry.
I don't play anymore.
Oh my God.
But that was all I'd done. I enjoyed that. It was my sport and I was good at it. Like, well, ish.
Apart from when you slide tackle people into right, okay. Wow.
Yeah, so obviously then kind of started training when I was like 15, 16, more for like aesthetics and trying to kind of build some muscle and that kind of young lad kind of era. And it kind of just stemmed from there. I never really knew what I wanted to do as like a job going forwards. And then as I was training sort of around like sixth form, kind of trying to decide what I was going to do, I met my friend in the gym, and he had plans to open a gym, and it kind of just developed from there that I went and sort of got my PT qualification, started helping him out with classes, decided to go into business with him, opened the gym, and that was kind of my quick route into PT.
Fantastic.
Very much left school, done my qualification, started doing PT straight off the bat.
Very nice. A bit more interesting than mine. So for anybody who hasn't listened to the episode where I bared my soul,
it's a good listen.
Well, one of my clients messaged me and she was like, I've just listened to your podcast, ... Interesting. And I was like, oh no, that's never good. Never. But I became a PT because I had a street food business with my ex, and we both essentially loved fitness and then thought it would be a great way to supplement our income, but something that wouldn't detract from obviously what was very busy, like a summer season. It's a lot of weekend events. With the kind of events we would do would be like street food festivals, like family, like fair type things. So yeah, it was a way of building it around that, filling the gaps, because you can't be at a street food event every single day of the week, and going from there. So not particularly conventional, but I found my groove with training and loved it. And then that's that. Now, if you said to me, why are you still a coach? The answer is very different.
Why are you still a coach then?
Why am I still a coach? Because I absolutely, absolutely love helping women get physically and mentally stronger, and finding a love for training in an environment that is typically very male dominated. I'm raising a tribe of mini women who are just going to go out there and crush the souls of men.
I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, I like my women to get so strong they outlift all of the guys, and with better form. There you go. Yeah. Also, I think the industry itself has changed. Like, it was very much a male dominated industry.
Definitely.
And it's a lot more mixed now, but there's also still a lot of guys in gyms who think women shouldn't be there and are very misogynistic in their approach and make women feel quite uncomfortable. And I want to be one of the reasons that they still continue to push through their discomfort in training to go, do you know what? I've got as much right to be here as you. Women can be whatever they want to be, but if they want to have muscle and they want to have shape and they want to feel better naked, then absolutely crack on. And now it's a lot more about, I think, empowerment and education. And stopping that cycle of fad diets and slimming groups and meal replacement shakes. Herbalife. Sorry, what?
Leave that out so I don't get sued.
Oh, do you know what? Let them come at me. Honestly, I'd love a challenge like that. Okay, well, your product is shite. So, sorry. Mr. Herbalife's listening. I'm not sorry. He doesn't care. He probably makes like 1 million times what I earn.
A bit more than that, I think.
Probably. Still not going to whore myself out for his products though, ever.
No.
Okay. I think that's a nice place to end today. We have got a few to carry over.
I think that's a juicy old episode.
That's going to be, if you get to the end of this, gold
I mean,
stuff.
I might even have to split it to two because we'll touch like hour and a half, I think.
Are you telling me somebody doesn't want to listen to an hour and a half? Go for a walk, listen to our podcast, and you'll have done your 10,000 steps.